Okay, so today I'm going to be exposing the digital marketing's dirty little secret. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever been scrolling online, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and you see all these twats posting the screenshots of their income? Guilty. And they're there flexing, showing that they are earning, $1 million a month, 100K a month, $1 million years, whatever it is. And for someone who may not have a business, who is working a job, or for someone who is maybe trying to start a business, but they haven't had the success yet, it can be really frigging hard to comprehend how these guys are making so much money. And quite frankly, it can make you feel like shit that these guys are so much better than you and that you are at a bad point in your life. But I'm here to tell you that it isn't as it seems. Because yes, they can post the $1 million made in a month or the $1 million made in a year, but that doesn't mean that they actually take home that money to spend. Because let me tell you this, if these guys who were posting and flexing on Instagram, if they were actually taking home $1 million a month, they'd be on some fucking 2013 Justin Bieber shit, getting high, smashing up Lambos, telling press officers to fuck off. Like, they'd be doing crazy shit. They wouldn't just be fucking sat at home posting screenshots of their income. So what does the $1 million screenshot mean? And how much money are these guys actually making? Well, I'm going to break it down for you right now. So a few years ago, I remember there was this guy, and him and his business partner were posting online being like, hey, we've done over $1 million a year. And I was like, fuck, $1 million a year? Sounds pretty good, right? Making 85 grand per month. Like, that's more than I've ever done. Like, this is crazy, right? Now, $1 million in a year. A few years later, that business isn't here anymore. And one of the business partners came out, I think he was on a podcast or doing a video, I can't remember what it was. And he basically said the most he ever personally took home in a single month from that business, I think it was either 12 or 14 grand, right? Now, again, that business was doing $1 million or over $1 million a year. So it was around 85 to 100K per month, right? And when you see that big number, you're like, shit, that's so much money. But the best he ever did was take home, I think it was 12 to 14K. And he said that was the best ever month in the couple of years of running the business. He said on average, it was between 6 to 8 grand that he was taking home. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, yeah, sweet, 6 to 8K a month sounds pretty good. And it is, it's a good income, obviously, but it's a far cry away from the $1 million a year that these guys were flexing and posting online. So how is it that a business can do $1 million and they are flexing these screenshots saying how much money their company's making, but they can actually take home very little? Because this is how the numbers break down. So let's take this guy for an example. He was making around $1 million a year from his business. So he was doing around 85 grand per month. Now, a lot of these businesses that you see online, they're selling like high ticket courses. So a lot of courses teaching you how to make money online, maybe the $1,000, maybe the $2,000, maybe even the $5,000, $10,000. But a lot of these people now, they will be selling this over the phone. So in order to sell these programs or courses over the phone, they will have to pay a commission to a salesperson, right? The salesperson obviously takes the call and closes the deal. Typical industry average for a salesperson is around 10%. So already you got to take 10% off the 85K. Now, for maths purposes, I'm going to be a bit lighter and I'm just going to take off the 5K. So that means we've got 80K left of the 85K. So now you've got to ask the question of, how are these people generating these sales calls with these people who want to buy these programs? Well, a lot of people are, or a lot of companies are running advertisement, right? They're spending money on ads. So, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of people who lose money on the advertising campaigns. We're going to say in this example that they were pretty profitable. So we're going to say that they spend at least 20K on ads, right? And to spend 20K in a month and to generate back 85K, that's pretty good. That's a very good return on ad spend. Like, most companies would be jumping up and down, frigging popping bottles, going to the club celebrating that they have made 85K off 20K ad spend. So if you take off the 20K, that leaves you obviously with 60. Now, if you're running a $1 million per year business and you're doing over like 85 to 100K per month, then it's very likely that it's not just you and maybe a business partner. you've probably got staff. So let's just say, and we're going to be nice to them in this example, let's just say they had 2 team members and they paid these team members 2.5k each per month. So the total billing for salary was 5k, which means that the now income is now 55. And then obviously depending on the type of business and all that sort of good stuff, there will be other costs like hard costs, softwares, etc., etc. We're not going to say that this company has an office or anything, but let's just say they have around 5k in other expenses for the business, which is pretty minimal. So it's going to leave them now with 50k. So right now we're going to say that they have 50k profit for the month for the business. But obviously you've got to pay tax, and depending on where you are in the world, that can range from it could be 0 if you've fucked off to Dubai like most people are doing these days, but it could most likely be between 20 to 40% tax. So let's just say you pay 30% tax on your income. 30% of 50 is 15. So that leaves you with, if my math is correct, 35k after you've paid your tax. Now, here's the thing, 35k still sounds good, and it's obviously some people's annual salary in a month. But here's the thing, you don't just take all of the money out of the business and put it in your personal bank account and spend it, because guess what? You obviously want to continue growing the company next month. So what does that mean? It means that you have to do all of these costs, you have to do them again. You have to put money aside to invest back into the business, to invest into advertising for the following month. As a business owner, you have to keep a big percentage of the money that you make in the business bank account for future expenses. I mean, a lot of people will keep around 6 to 12 months worth of business expenses in the business bank account. Again, we're not going to do that in this example. We're just going to say that they keep the advertising budget for the next month in their bank account. So that's another 20k that they can't really touch because they need it to fund the growth of the business for the following month. So that means they're going to be left with 15k. So we've already gone from 85k to 15k, and these guys who run this company haven't been paid yet. Now, in the example that I was talking about, there were 2 business partners. So I'm assuming they split it 50-50, right? They've got 2 business partners, which means they're taking home 7.5k each, which kind of aligns with what he was talking about, right? So I would imagine this is a very accurate breakdown of the costs. So again, 7.5k, good on you, son. Pretty good income. Not the best when you consider everything involved and other people who make money online, but compared to maybe like a regular job, that's a pretty good income. But again, it's a far cry away from the $1 million screenshot that they are posting and flexing on you and making you feel like shit about your own income. It's actually not that far away from a regular salary. And there's a lot of people who do work a regular job who will earn more than these guys. And that's if they only have 2 friggin' business partners. There is plenty of people out there who have business partners of 3, 4, 5 people. There's these guys the other day who were posting around how much money they're making, and it was a very similar story. They were posting how they've done over $1 million. And I'm like, yeah, bro, but there is like 4 of you in the business. There's 4 of you who own a percentage of the business, and you have like 6 to 7 people on full-time salary. So yes, the top line revenue looks good, but it's definitely not what you're being able to spend. You see, your man's trying to record a video, the sun's not out when I start recording, then halfway through the video, it comes out, makes my feed all saturated, makes me look like I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to recording YouTube content. And quite frankly, I don't like to be exposed like that. So just had to do a little readjustment on the camera settings for this final piece. So my point is, you can still be super inspired by the screenshots. Go and aim to build $1 million business. It's pretty impressive to build $1 million business. But the point of this video is to not look at these people like they are gods. And if they post $1 million screenshot, it doesn't mean that they are millionaires. It doesn't mean that they have $1 million to spend. In a lot of cases, it will be far away from that. And this is for like an online course, like digital product business, where the costs are pretty low and your margins should be pretty high. But here's the thing. If you run like an e-commerce brand, like a clothing line or something like that, your margins are even thinner. I know a lot of e-commerce businesses and they're doing like millions of dollars a month in sales. It is very, very impressive, but they don't get to take home any of the money because with an e-commerce business, not only do you have all the regular costs, you probably have staff, you have to pay for advertising for sure, but then you've also got to pay for stock as well, which is obviously a big upfront cost. So I know a lot of people who were doing big numbers with their e-com brand, but they were personally broke. They had less money in their personal bank account than they needed to pay off on the Amex credit cards. So don't get fooled by the twats posting the screenshots. Don't start feeling shit about yourself because you feel like your income is so far off of them. Like I said, oftentimes it is not as it seems. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.